What is going to be more uncomfortable? Staying the same or taking that action?
What's one leadership move that men get praised and women get criticized?
Men can be tougher, but when women are tough, we are labeled, we are criticized.
If a man is decisive and direct, being praised as confident and the true leader, right?
I
What do
understand
you
where
think?
you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it doesn't play an effect. But if you constantly, as a woman, find yourself in that frustrating space, you are not able to tap into the creativity that you need to be able to see how you would be able to do it better.
What is the switch that made it all happen for you?
If you decide with your mind and your heart, everything that you have, I'm gonna go for it, and the universe is gonna be able to feel that you're ready.
Okay.
And that's when you draw the power back to you.
So, welcome back to the Power of Bold Living. My name is Jennifer Figueroa, and I'm so excited to share with you the new series, Bold and Brilliant. In this new series, we will be shining a spotlight on the remarkable women that are making their mark and living boldly in ways that inspires us all. Isn't that right, Zina?
Indeed, thank you. Yes, indeed. And today we are shining a bold spotlight on Mrs. Mingli Chung, who is our guest in this episode. And I think I'm ready to dive in to find out about her stories and challenges and how she overcame everything.
Yes. And I'm sure that our listeners would like to know, who is Mingli Chung? Who is she? So tell us just a little bit about you before we start into conversation, and going deep in it.
Well, definitely one of the most difficult questions that I find. It's always the question that I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? To be very honest, there's so many different labels. There's so many different things that I do. But first and foremost, I'm a woman. First and foremost, I'm a human being. I'm a feeling human being. I'm also a wife. I'm also a mommy to an amazing kid. What I help as part of my purpose is I'm a trauma-informed leadership coach, where I help other powerful women to truly connect with themselves, dive deeper within themselves so that they can own their power, right? Their feminine power,
that.
truly own their leadership positions as well, so that they don't feel like they don't deserve to be at the table.
Yes.
So that they own their position at the table. And so I absolutely enjoy what I do. We also help organizations with Key Connect, my company Key Connect. We also help organizations with culture shift, right? So we come in as human behavior experts, also having that part of trauma-informed, techniques. We really come in and we look at organizations as a human body. So just like you do a scan of your body when you're not feeling great. You look at the body, you look at the mind, we look at the business mind. That's the leadership. We look at the business body, which is the structures and the processes. And we look at the business soul, which is every single heartbeat in the organization. And then we help you and the leadership team to create alignment between all three.
My
So we do
goodness,
that as
amazing.
well.
I would love to be in that position to sit with you, Mrs. Mingli. And so what I'm thinking right now, Jennifer, is wouldn't we like to know what her defining moment was in her leadership process that made you who you are today?
Yes.
Great question. I have a lot of them. So I'll give you two. One is in my first official leadership position, I was director of sales at the age of 26. And so when I first finished university in Holland, finished with my master's in strategy and organization, I couldn't find a job. I couldn't find a job neither on the island. I couldn't find a job in Holland. To be honest, I don't think I really knew how to really sell myself. Here on the island, I got the comment that I'm too expensive, which is very interesting because I was fresh out of university, and all you want at that point is you just want an opportunity to start working. So I started with my own bed and breakfast in the center of Amsterdam. And I did that for about 2 years, which was very, very successful. The first year, there were a couple of struggles, but it was very, very successful. And me being the bold type, the daring type, after 2 years, I felt like, okay, I need another challenge. And the challenge, instead of, taking another small step, I took a very big step. and I decided to apply for the director of sales position of the opening property Courtyard in Bonaire. I'd never worked for another organization in my life. I've never seen or needed to be responsible for a multi-million-dollar budget, and I ended up getting the position. And so the first year, I absolutely failed. I failed, but I failed miserably. Half of my team decided to leave because I was, for lack of a better word, not such a good leader or shitty leader in the first year. And then I got a performance review or performance evaluation from actually a female leader. And it absolutely sucked. And I was super pissed about it. But me being me again, I wanted to grow. I wanted to, make sure that this is not where I stay. At the time, I was going through a lot of craziness as well. It was a very tough market to sell, very tough hotel to sell. And on top of it, I was being cyberbullied, cyberstalked by who I thought was, a very close colleague of mine. She found out what my salary is. And that I was earning more, and so that became a whole thing. So I was going through a very tough time from all different angles. I was feeling as if I was getting hit from all different angles. And so I took the performance review, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna break this down. At that time, working for Marriott, usually you get coaching, you get a guide, you get training. But at that particular moment when I was director of sales, Marriott merged with Starwood. And so the person who needed to guide me suddenly had 52 hotels under her. And so, of course, Pinimini Bonaire is not on the priority list at the moment, which I understand. And so I decided to take that performance review, and I made a decision. Everybody, including my parents, was telling me, just quit, you're young. And they, they had the best interest because they knew that I was going through a severe time during that period. But something in me just knew that whatever I'm going through, I have to go through it for whatever comes next.
To prepare yourself
to prepare
for
myself.
the bigger things.
Exactly. And so I decided to suck it up. I took that performance review, I broke it down, and I started to look for trainings. And long story short, that was, one of the most defining moments, because that trajectory that I created for myself, I started to do trainings every Saturday and Sunday, implement in the week with my team, see what's not going well. And so I basically trained myself. And that's sort of like the trajectory that I've created for the other powerful women that I coach today.
So actually that performance
Evaluation
make you actually stronger.
Yes, it did. That hit that I got, together with all of the other ones, actually, that was the defining moment.
And I think that you are the director, the writer, everything of your life. And you decided that, okay, this performance is not going to took me down. I will stand up, and I will stand up harder, and I will go for it.
Yep,
It's
definitely.
beautiful. And that you have, we all have.
Exactly.
But most of us don't know. They don't know the power that we have inside us, that we can make everything possible.
Yes.
So
that's true.
Let's start. Well, let's just dive in other question. In your perception, and I love this one, what's one leadership move that men get praised and women get criticized?
Great question. I would say, after working with so many leaders, it's the fact that men can be tougher, but when women are tough, we are labeled, we are criticized. And so looking at it from an energy perspective, it's almost like men are allowed to be masculine, but when women step a little bit into that space, we get criticized for being in that space. And that's unfortunate, because you need, as a leader, regardless if you're a man or a woman, you need both. You need a little bit of softness and you need a little bit of hardness. Every situation is going to require something different. And so, in a way, it's not fair that women get criticized when they have to resume a little bit more of that toughness at times.
Yeah, that's correct. And indeed, if a man is decisive and direct, they're being praised as confident and the true leader, right? And a woman with the same qualities, they get criticized as bossy, as difficult to work with,
Yes.
and you name it. But at the same time, they expect us to be the nurturing one, the mothering one. That's what they see in us. But that's also not good. Because if you are that, then you're weak and incompetent.
Well, I
What do you
understand where
think?
you're
How-
coming
how-
from.
yeah.
I don't necessarily agree.
Okay.
I do understand where you're coming from because they're kind of projecting onto us that this is your space, this is
Okay,
who you're
okay.
supposed to be,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yes.
But when you actually resume that, tampoco no tabong, as we say
Exactly.
here, right? And so at one point it starts to become, what do you actually want from us? I think the issue is that, especially for women, they need to let go of all of that frustration that they have with how we are perceived, how the men are looking at us. I'm not saying that it doesn't play an effect. But if you constantly, as a woman, find yourself in that frustrating space, you are not able to tap into
will
the
lose
creativity that you need to be able to see how you would be able to do it better.
Mingli, I see that, for example, you saying that you tap into who you are. I think that when I heard your story about the challenges that you had to overcome and that you started a process of self-studying and self-learning, I think that in that process, you have incorporated and shown that you are a woman with strategies. And a lot of people, a lot of women, men, they do a job. However, they never go and have a strategy in mind. And in my case, I am a strategist too. And so I see you completely, that you are a fighter and you are a strategist. And you then plotted out your own scene in what Jennifer said, your story, your movie. You make the plots and you change your character and then to be able to be successful. Isn't that right, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm reading this book called Emotional Intelligence. And in this book, there is a chapter that talks about authenticity. You know, being authentic, being yourself. Do not change to fit, because you will fail. That's not you.
Yeah.
You know, and being an authentic leader, I think, will take you further than trying to fit into something that you're not happy with. You know, am I right?
Well, one of the things that I've come across now with working with a lot of powerful women leaders is that a lot of times we try to strive for, one, democracy, and two, authenticity. But I actually heard this coming from, so the particular term, I heard it come from Michelle Obama, where she says, you need to be strategically authentic.
Yes.
Not only authentic, because a lot of people think, it's a misconception that they have, that when you're authentic, you're wild and free. You can do whatever you want,
Yes.
right? I can be however I want. But the reality is, when you are a leader and the higher up you go up the ladder, you also need to be strategic about how you say certain things,
Yes.
how you present yourself. Does that mean that you cannot be yourself? No, you can. But you need to be mindful.
Yes.
So for me, that strategic element is bringing in that mindfulness to your authenticity. Because
Yes.
nowadays they took authenticity and they made it into this, free-for-all, wild thing. And especially as women, we already have this perception that, we're emotional, we're wild, especially the emotional part, right? And so when you're strategically authentic, that's when you can really step into your own power, because that's what we call that key connect. Then you're the leader of your energy. You're the leader of your choices, and you're the leader of your responses.
Amazing.
So now, if I incorporate both the questions that Jennifer asked and what you are replying to, I can understand who you are better, and that I think that we as women, we have so many different roles that where we are connoted as being emotional. However, the emotional part of us is the empathetic part. And also, while you're saying that we have to be strategic in how we approach things and how we handle things, and that is unique for women, and I think it's very powerful.
I agree with you.
Don't you
Yes.
agree?
I agree. I completely 100% agree. What we can do as women, nobody else can do.
No, it's
Exactly.
Nobody else can do. But we have to own that power.
Yes.
And we don't. Why? Because we get lost in, yeah, but the men don't see me at the table. They do this, they get praise for this, and I don't get praise for that. Again, I understand the bottlenecks.
Yeah.
But when you have the ability to detach from that frustration, detach from what is going on, that's when you can truly bring that power back to you
Okay.
and strategize how can you show up better, not for them, for you.
You. Exactly.
And
So
that's when you shift from being the follower in your life or in your business or in your career to truly gaining freedom, inner freedom, and
Okay.
stepping into the leadership position in your life, in your business, and in your career.
oh my goodness, I'm so empowered right now. I'm empowered. I'm like, this is nothing. I just go and do the job. So, yes.
Yeah, well, I think that what you're saying is that when you encountered the challenges that you had way in your job in Bonaire, and you had to have your voice heard, you had to have your personality shown, you had to have the strategy to be able to tackle every single situation. How can you tell all the women and also men who are listening to this podcast, what is the switch that made it all happen for you?
You need to want it bad enough.
What is it? Sorry?
You need to want it bad enough.
Okay.
So there's a particular thing now that I teach a lot of the women that I work with. You need to decide, you need to design, and you need to embody.
Okay.
First, you need to decide with your mind and your heart what you want. Because if you take that particular moment, for example, I knew that it was going to be tough.
That's the,
I was already in a tough situation.
that's the burning desire.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you need to decide with your mind and your heart, because a lot of us are very good, especially leaders. We're very good at creating tasks. We're very good at setting the intention. But there's a big difference between setting an intention with your mind, but also creating a magnetic signal with your heart.
Okay.
And so you need to truly, truly decide. If you want to look at it like you're communicating with the universe, if you only communicate with your mind, then the universe is going to be like, okay, I heard you, but I'm waiting for you. If you decide with your mind and your heart, with everything that you have, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to go through this challenge, I'm going to learn, I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do, then the universe is going to be able to feel that you're ready.
Okay.
And that's when you draw the power back to you. Right? So that's deciding. That's how we start.
Okay.
Then you have to design. The reality is the version that you are right now, and this counts for men and women, the version that you are right now is not going to take you where you want to go. You need to be willing to let go of your limited perceptions, behaviors, feelings, challenge yourself. You need to be willing to let go of the old version and create, as the leader, create your new version, your new self. And that's tough.
Yes,
Because
it
every
is.
single time your old version is going to come back and come back and come back. And so every single time you need to be willing to challenge yourself. And then you have to embody. Once you've designed who you want to be, whatever versions that might be, once you've designed, then you have to step into what I call your unfuckwittable shoes every single day. And this is a very simple tip that I always share. We all have to put on our shoes every single morning. Why not put on your abundant shoes every single morning, right? Whether it's
I love
sneakers or
that.
high
Yeah.
heels,
Abundant.
you have to
Yes.
embody who you want to be. That's not just thinking up, oh, I want to be this person. No, you have to feel like that person every single day. Do it before you get out of the house. That's the difference between coming in insecure or with lack energy versus owning the position.
Mingli, what you said was so interested and so exciting for me to hear that. And now I want to dig a little bit deeper into that. when you define what you're going to do and you put your shoes on, your bold shoes, you want to take action, you want to do it. However, you have this trembling going on inside. You have this, like they say gut feeling, but you feel something inside of you that you have this fear. How do you overcome that to just boldly make a step in front and do what you need to do?
Yeah. Well, definitely, every time that you're going to grow, fear is going to go right along with you. And one of the biggest issues that I encounter with a lot of leaders that I work with is we try to resist that fear. We don't want to feel the negative emotions. We only want to focus on the positive emotions. And so what ends up happening is we suppress. To be able to master fear, the first thing that you need to start doing is to create a safe space to feel the fear.
Okay.
Why? Because when you can feel it, you can also let it go. When you suppress it, it stays inside of your body. And to be able to overcome fear, really take that bold step, you cannot be in that fearful space all the time. You have to feel it, create a space for it. Okay, you're here. Okay, deuces. Now it's time to go.
I love what you are saying, because I'm reading this other book called The Voice of Knowledge. And it's like he talks about the two voices that you have in your head. You have the voice of knowledge, which we call the thinking, which is the lie, the voice of lie. And then you have the voice of spirit. Most of the time, the voice of knowledge is the one who talks too much. You don't hear the voice of spirit.
Yeah.
The voice of knowledge tells you, no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. You don't, sorry, but it's not for you. That job is not for you.
Yeah.
The voice of spirit says, you can do it. You're strong, you're smart. And then that one kicks in and say, why do you think you're smart? Because you just failed the test. So it is just a continuously war within you. But what I've learned is that I'm aware. And if I'm aware, I know how to say what you just mentioned. Hey, stop it. I don't need you. You stop it because you know that that's not you.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to hear.
So you're absolutely right. Awareness is a big part of it, right?
Yes.
Awareness is what you do when you create that safe space to start to feel versus suppress. And I'll tell you, ladies that are watching this episode right now, men also feel.
Of
And they
course.
also feel the fear. Supposedly, they pretend as if they don't, or they
They're
don't
strong,
necessarily
right?
show it because they need to be very strong. But they also feel fear, right? Now, for us, we are more in tune naturally with our feeling and the way that we grew up as well. It's more okay, and that's a benefit that we have as women. It's okay for us to feel. Yet, there's so many powerful women that do not utilize this powerful tool to be able to push themselves forward. So in terms of mastering your fear, number one thing that I would advise is to definitely create a safe space to be able to feel the fear so it doesn't stay stuck, so that, like Jennifer was mentioning, that voice doesn't keep replaying as much. It'll still
Exactly.
replay, but not as much. The second thing is, a lot of times we talk about purpose. You need to have purpose. Yes, purpose is very important. But when shit hits the fan and you don't want to get out of bed, or the thing feels too scary, purpose alone might not do it for you. So you need what we call leverage. Leverage is a deep enough pain that you can remind yourself and attach to the action that you want to take that is going to push you forward.
Okay.
You need to have some level of uncomfortability.
Okay.
What is going to be more uncomfortable? Staying the same or taking that action? And that's where leverage comes into play.
Okay.
And I'll give an example of mine where, for me, one of the biggest leverages for me is that I don't want my son to ever tell me, you didn't show me how to do it. I'm telling him that you can do anything that you want, which is what we as parents do. You can be anything that you want. You can do anything that you want. And he turns around and he tells me, yeah, but you didn't show me how. That for me is one of the biggest pains that I can experience. For leverage to work, it needs to be a pain that you really feel in your body. Every time that I mention this, I start to get a little bit choked up. And so
Okay.
when I don't want to make the move, and today is actually a very special day because I'm going to invest into something that is the biggest investment that I've ever done so far in our
wow.
business.
Okay.
I woke up with a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. Your mind goes, what's going to happen? But what if you don't have the money later? And what happens with this? And what happens with that? But do we really need it? All of these reasons why I shouldn't.
Yes.
And going back to the voice of spirit, I know that this is what we need to do.
Okay.
And so
Love
another
it.
thing that you have to do is next to leverage, also you need to be able to calm your nervous system.
Okay.
Because when your nervous system is not calm, your prefrontal cortex, your thinking mind, cannot reason.
Okay.
And so that's when, when we're dysregulated is when the voice of ego is much more active. And
Okay.
so you need to be able to calm your nervous system as well to be able to master your fear.
So how I visualize it is that you have this lever, and then you have this pain that is pushing down what you want to do, and you have to have something on the other side to give you the strength
Yeah.
to push it up. Just
Exactly.
like you're doing it with your son, that you don't want him to say later that you haven't pushed him, you haven't taught him, you haven't done this, and then the love of your son pushes it up and makes you take action.
Yeah.
Okay, is that what you envision?
That's another
Yes.
perception of how
Okay.
you would be able to use leverage.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But the reality is between purpose and pain is a deeper motivator sometimes than purpose. If you look at
Okay.
all of the greatest people in the world, they all went through a lot of pain, a lot of heartache in their life. And so they use that to be able to push themselves forward.
Yes, I remember Tony Robbins always mentions the two sides of pain and pleasure. It's either you have the pain of doing the action and taking action and doing what you need to do, or you go with the pleasure of thinking of what you can do
if.
now, what you can achieve, right, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Interesting.
I'm learning a lot of things today.
Oh, yes.
Aren't
Oh,
you
yes,
too?
I'm like, wow. All right, so let's go to the other question. What do you think is the most critical support system women leaders need from each other to thrive?
Beautiful, beautiful question. This is actually something that we've right now done in one of the most important organizations here in Aruba. What we did for the very first time is we brought in, I was right now coaching 5 different leaders, and we brought in meditation training.
Okay.
Now, it's not just a meditative space, but what ended up happening in these meditation sessions every single week is opening up, all of the women opening up, being vulnerable with each other in a safe space, right? A lot of times, especially in corporate life, you hear, be careful what you say, you're not allowed to be too open, you have to be mindful. In a way, yes, but opening up a safe space to be more vulnerable with each other, talking about different things that you're going through, sharing with each other, enables you to bond on a much deeper level. And we are right now seeing for this particular organization how 8 weeks of meditation training in a group, what the impact of this is on the entire organization and these 5 leaders, their bond and their connection and their relationship with each other. So to that question, I think that we need more safe spaces to be more vulnerable with each other.
Okay.
With vulnerable, you mean that is when you surrender, right?
Well, yes.
You're open. And meditation indeed is definitely something that helps a lot. a
Yes.
lot. It's like you go, just sit there and calm your mind, and just you already feel right. Just to sit in there 5 minutes, calm your mind,
Yeah.
your thought, your everything,
Yeah.
and it gives me like okay, Jennifer, you're up. Let's just do the job now.
Absolutely. And I think what we are doing today, for example, we need to have more conversations, but also have more conversations about the things that we don't like and the things that we struggle with,
Yes.
right? We are one heart. And this is what I really understood during my Dr. Joe Dispenza healing retreat is as women, we are one heart. There's nothing that I have gone through that you have not gone through. You have different life experiences. But my pain is your pain, and your success is my success. And so when we talk more to each other, we create spaces where we can connect more with each other. And what I mean with being vulnerable, opening up that Pandora box, dare to share how you feel. That's where the magic happens.
Have you noticed that when you are in a group setting, like you mentioned, the Dr. Joe Dispenza way of thinking and meditation system, that when you are in a group of 8, like you mentioned, that you feel a more of a coherence of mindset, and that also can help take away the vulnerabilities of how each and all the members feel, to put them together as a team. Have you felt that it helps
Not in the
because of
beginning.
that? Not in the beginning.
It doesn't
Okay.
always go like that in the
Okay.
beginning. Sometimes it does. And I'm not talking about this particular, like group, but in general, you have to start with sometimes each individually, because every leader is in a different place in their career and in their life. And this is the biggest misconception that people have about driving change in organizations, right? One of the things that we do is we help culture shift. The misconception is that we all need to decide together that we're going to go for it. We all have to make the decision, and only if we all make the decision, then we can actually take the next step forward. Tanteng ko nos turno to make that decision. Until we all don't make that decision, it's not going to work. And so even if you have a part that makes the decision, it still doesn't fully work, right? That's the wrong way to go about driving change. The way that you should is when you understand human behavior, when you understand rising of vibration, you can take a different strategy. And so far, with our business, Key Connect, and working with so many powerful leaders, helping them to transform into owning their leadership position and very much become this confident, free being within their position, this is one thing that I learned. You need to help each and every single person. When you help this person raise their vibration, they're going to impact the people around them. And then when you have another person over here, you help them raise their vibration, become free of their attachments, and their vibration also rises and they start to impact around them. And if you do this with multiple people within the organization, once they've learned how to master their emotions, master their triggers, become free from expectations and attachments, then these 5, for example, with their higher vibration, these 5 come together and their power becomes bigger. Once people in the organization start to see that these 5 powerful beings, their vibration is so high and they're so free and they're so happy and powerful, people want to know, what did they do?
Yes.
And they can impact the energy and the rest of the organization. That's how you drive change fast.
Incredible.
Because these 5 now are at a state where they can forget about the frustration, the limited self. They're a new self, and the new self starts to come together. And that's the moment when you actually start to make the best decisions, not just for you, but for your teams and for the entire organization. So you don't want these limited selves before to come together and make the decisions. You actually want to do the inner work that you need to do, raise your vibration, design a new self, embody this new self, this new leader, and then we come together and we start to really come up with the strategies and drive change.
So,
This is beautiful.
So one heart, one connection.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right.
I wish we could talk the whole day.
Wish, but all
This
right.
is so interesting.
So let's go to the game. We are doing a game, and it's a multiple choice game. So we will make it very easy for you, Mingli.
Oh, Lord. I suck at games.
No, you're good. Don't worry. Okay. The first one. When they go low, we go high.
Michelle Obama.
So there you go.
Hey,
There
I
you
didn't
go.
expect that.
Yeah, easy.
No,
easy
really, I'm really
questions.
bad at these types of games. Like charade games are not my thing.
Okay, that was not too challenging.
Okay.
Everybody knows
Okay,
that saying
say
because
that
we
one.
know what Michelle Obama, how good of a speaker she is. So this one is, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Now, you have a few choices. Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, or Emma Watson. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the
I would say
more there
Oprah.
is in life. Yes, it is.
Yes? Okay.
Okay.
There you go, girl.
Nice.
All right, we're almost there. Don't follow the crowd. Let the crowd follow you. A. Beyonce. 2. Margaret Thatcher. B. Ariana Huffington.
I would say Ariana.
No.
Margaret Thatcher,
No.
but she's very young. Both of you are very
Well,
young. So
this is very interesting because the first thing that popped into my mind was the second option.
Well, listen.
your instinct,
Yeah.
your
You didn't
instinct is
listen.
always
Exactly,
the best
but the
one.
game, oh my
The
God, I
best-
don't want to suck at it.
Yeah.
That comes
There
and
you go.
ito
There you
pong
go.
pabo, and here
And then
we
the
are.
last one.
The last one.
The last one is, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. A. Eleanor Roosevelt. B. Brene Brown. And C. Martha Nussbaum. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Would that be Eleanor Roosevelt?
Yes,
Yeah?
that is
Okay.
indeed.
You
She
are
was
good.
yes.
Okay.
She was a wonderful woman too.
I
in
need to
her
change my
times.
story about charade games.
Yes, right? Yay. All right. So,
What can I say? I mean, we've had a great time. I wish it was longer.
yes, I wish that too. But thank you. Thank you for being here. And I know for sure that our listeners will, in a way, we are helping. We are contributing to that, that to make sure and make clear that we have the power, that we are the director and everything to write our stories.
Exactly. And if I'm allowed to share one more thing,
Of course.
is for every single woman out there, the thing that they might criticize you for, especially for us as women, is your superpower.
Awesome.
All you need to do is learn how to master your emotions.
Okay.
That's the number one thing that we get criticized in corporate life for. The fact that we are too emotional. But when you learn how to master your emotions, you master your life. When you learn how to master your emotions and master your energy, anything and everything is possible for you.
Wow.
So whatever you got to do to learn how to own your superpower, do it. You're never going to fail.
Well, this is the superpower then. Making the bold move and master your emotions to be able to achieve what you want to achieve
Yes.
as women.
As easy as
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right? So thank you to our listeners for being part of the Bold podcast. And if you want to hear more about these stories, just follow us, connect with us through social media so we can keep this conversation going. And we see you
Thank
next
you very
time.
much. Make the next bold move and listen to the podcast and learn more about our guest today, Mrs. Mingli Chung. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me
Thank
today.
you, Melly.